Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to see the module 3 concept of operating system subject, which is 17 scheme. Subject code is 17CS64. Module 3 contains mainly two concepts. One is deadlocks, second one is memory management. In the deadlock, we have mainly Banker's algorithm, resource allocation graph, and some prevention avoidance algorithms. Also safety algorithm is there. In memory management, we are going to see mainly paging concept, structure of the page table, and paging concept. Also swapping concept we are going to see in this memory management concept. Here we have to refer textbook. This is the textbook we have to refer. Operating System Principles, 7th edition. Let us go for first deadlock concept. Here, what you mean by deadlock? When processes request a resource and if the resources are not available at that time, the process enters into waiting state. Waiting state or waiting process may not change its state because the resource they are requested are held by the other process. This situation is called deadlock. Very cleanly explained in this definition. What do you mean by deadlock? Here, process request a resource. A resource means we can take it as anything, either a printer or a scanner, like that, RAM or CPU, anything that is a resource used by the process. Here, when process requests a resource, it is a requesting, because in order to execute the process needs resources. That we seen in the first module also. We have a lot of process in the main memory, secondary memory. That secondary memory all memory jobs, that means in the secondary memory we have jobs, right? Lot of jobs are there. That jobs are we are taking into main memory. That concept is called job scheduling concept. Then from main memory, again processes are coming to process is coming to CPU. That scheduling concept is called short-term scheduling, or also CPU scheduling, that we seen in the previous module. Here, process requests a resource if resource are not available at that particular time. Then process enters into a waiting state. If that process needs resource for execution, but at that time when process request, right, at that time resource is not there. That means the resource is busy with other process. So at that time process will enter into waiting state. Waiting process may not change its state because the resource they are requested are held by the other process. Waiting process may not change its state. That means that particular process will not execute. It is also waiting for resource. That state is called deadlock state. The situation where the process waiting for the resource, that is not available, is called deadlock. That is another definition for deadlock. One is detailed definition they given in the first point. Second point they given short definition. The situation where the process waiting for the resource that is not available. Consider P1 and P2 are the two process. P1 is waiting for resource, P2 also waiting for resource. Both are waiting for resource. Both are not executing. Both are waiting for a single resource. That is called we have already seen that concept, race around condition, that critical section problem, everything we seen in the module 2. Here deadlock means both are waiting, but no one going to progress. Both are waiting for resource. The situation where process waiting for the resource but not available, that is called deadlock. System model concept in the deadlock. A system may consist of finite number of resources and distributed among number of processes. The resources are partitioned into several instances, each with identical instance. What do you mean by instance? If consider a printer is a resource. If that printer number of printers are 10, then that resource contain 10 instances. If another consider another one, scanner is a resource. We have 10 number of scanners, that means a scanner with 10 instances. Okay, number of resources, that one resource. If A, B, C, 3 resources, A is a printer, B is a scanner and C is a CPU or RAM. Okay, A having 10 instance means we have 10 number of printers. B having 3 instance means 3 number of scanners. C having 4 instance means 4 number of RAM, like this. That is called instance. So system may consist of finite number of resource, finite number, and distributed among number of process, because process needs resource for execution purpose. That's why it is distributed among number of process. The resources are partitioned into several instances, each with identical instance. Okay. A process must request a resource before using it. Before using, process should request, must request, and once it is used, it should release. That is the second point. It must release the resource after using it. Before using the resource, processor must request for the resource. Once that resource is got, then execution will occur. Then process should release that resource. That is the thing. A process may utilize the resource in only the following sequence. First is a request. Process requesting for resource, use that resource, release that resource. Once you use, you have to release. That means process should release. Otherwise, again deadlock will occur. Deadlock characterization. This is the another important question in this module 3. Deadlock can arise if 4 conditions hold simultaneously. There are 4 conditions. If 4 conditions arrived, at that time deadlock can arise. First one, mutual exclusion. What is mutual exclusion? Only one process at a time can use the resource. If consider two processes there, P1 and P2. P1 also want resource, P2 also want resource. So there is a mutual exclusion, mutual understanding between two processes, and only one process can use the resource. At that time another is waiting. Once that first one is completed, then second one is executing. That means second one using that resource. That is called mutual exclusion. One process only executing or using the resource at a time. Second thing is hold and wait. A process holding at least one resource is waiting to acquire additional resource held by the other process. One process is holding. Consider we have two processes, P1 and P2. One process, P1 holding one resource and waiting for another resource. Like that, P2 also holding one process and waiting for another. That is called hold and wait. I think you can see this diagram here. It is, I think, visible. Here we have R1. Here we have P1. Here we have R2. Here we have P2. Thing is, R1 is assigned to P1. This is the arrow mark. Whatever we have arrow mark, that is already assigned. R1 is assigned to P1. That means already we given resource, that resource to P1 process. But this arrow mark is there. What is that? P1 requesting for R2. P1 process having one resource with the hand, that is R1. But P1 also want another, it is holding R1 and waiting for R2. It is a requesting. This edge is a request edge, and this edge is a assignment edge, that we can see in the next slide. Here P1 waiting for R2, like this. Here we have P2. It is waiting for R1. You can see the arrow mark. It is waiting for R1, but R2 is already allocated to P2. So P2 contain, it is holding R2 and it is waiting R1. That is a concept. Hold and wait. Particular process holding some resource and waiting for other resource. This time we have deadlock. If you have this type of concept in your any process method, at that time we are getting deadlock concept, because it is holding one thing and waiting for another thing. There is no progress. So hold and wait is also may lead to deadlock. Third thing is no preemption. A resource can be released only voluntarily by process holding it after that process has completed its task. A resource can be released only voluntarily by process holding it. No preemption means it holding one thing. Okay, you can see this resource can be released. That means here, while considering this example P1, resource can be released only voluntarily by the process holding it. That means if we are using that, P1 is using that particular resource, means that resource is used completely by P1. Once that P1 execution is completely over, then only P1 will release that resource. After that, that resource is used by another one. Here consider this example. Here R1 is there, here P1 is there. P1 is waiting for R2, right? So P1 consider R2 is assigned to P1 now. P1 is using R2 completely, or in the resource P2 execution completely occur, and once R2 is used completely by the P1, then resource R2 is released by P1. Till that is holding and executing. So no preemption. Preemptive concept you know in the previous module, so no need to explain what you mean by preemptive, what you mean by non-preemptive. Next concept is circular wait. There exists a set of P0, P1, Pn like this. This is a process of waiting process, such that P0 is waiting for P1, P1 is waiting for P2, P3 waiting for P4, like that. One process is waiting for another process to complete. That is a circular wait. Here that will happen. See, you can see this. There is a circular form. P1, it is waiting for R2, but R2 is assigned to P2. P2 is waiting for R1, but R1 is assigned to P1. You can see there is a circle, right? Here to here, one, here, then here, then here, then here. Arrow marks. You can see the arrow marks. So there is a circle. If there is any circle, if there is any circular wait, then circular wait means here waiting. P2 waiting for R1, but R1 is assigned to P1. P1 is waiting for R2, but R2 is assigned to P2. This is called circular wait. Wait means this one waiting, right? Here P1 is waiting for this one, also P2 is waiting for this. So there is a waiting. Okay, and there is a formation of circle. So this concept is called circular wait. Again, if there is any circular wait, then definitely there is a deadlock. Okay, so mutual exclusion, deadlock is there. If you are going for mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, circular wait. If you have any of the see here, can arise if 4 conditions hold simultaneously. 4 conditions are there simultaneously. At that time, you are getting deadlock in that system. Resource allocation graph is the another concept. Here, what is the resource allocation graph? A set of vertices V and set of edges E. V is partitioned into 2 types, P and R. What is P? Set of process. What is R? Set of resource. R is a resource. Okay. A set consisting of all process in the system, that is a P. Set consisting of all resource type in the system, that is R. So P and R, that is included in V, vertices. Okay. What is E? Edges. Here we have two types edges. Vertices we have two types, okay, P and R. Like that, edges we have two types, request and assignment. What is the request edge? Directed edge. See here, what is the request edge? We already see in the previous slide. Requesting. PI is requesting. See the arrow mark? PI is requesting with RJ. That RJ is one resource. PI is one process. PI is requesting RJ for execution. RJ is a resource. So it needs this resource for execution. That's why it is requesting. Assignment means what? It is allocated, already allocated to that particular process. See here, RJ, here PI. RJ is a resource that already assigned to process PI. So it is already allocated to PI. This is allocated. This is requesting. These are the two things very important. You have to know arrow marks. Here to here, P to R. This is a request. R to P. That is a assignment. Already assigned. Here we have some of the things. Process is represented by like this, and resource type with 4 instance. Instance means I already told. If you have printer, printer is a resource. You have 4 printers, then we have printers with 4 instance. Okay, so like this, here one resource is there. There we have 4 instance. You can see in inside this we have 4 small areas. That is we have, this is one resource. We have 4 types of 4 number of resource. Okay, then PI request instance of RJ. Here we have PI. That is a process is represented by like this, right? So process. Then here we have our resource. So PI is requesting. This is a request edge. Then what about holding or assignment? Assignment is, here we have PI. Here we have your resource. One of the instance, because we have 4, consider this is a printer. We have 4 printers. Out of that, one printer is given to this process. Like that, we can give another second printer to another process, third printer to another process. That is also happened sometimes. Many times that is happened. If you are using like that, then deadlock will not occur. Okay, so here one of the resource is given to one process. So this is assigned, already assigned. That resource instance is already assigned to that particular process. Example of resource allocation graph. We will go for one example. Here we have that diagram. This is a resource allocation graph. We can call it as one of the graph in deadlock system. And we have resource R1. R1 is the resource. Tell me how many instances are there? See, only one dot is there. That means only one number of resource is there, one instance. And here also one instance. Here 2 instance, because 2 dots are there. 2 number of resource R2. Okay, and 3 R4 contain 3 number of resource. So like this, this is the resource, and P1, P2, P3 are the 3 process. Now how we are going to write this? How we are going to explain this? See, P1 is a process that is requesting for R1 for execution. P1 want to execute, but for execution it takes help from R1 resource. It needs R1. That's why it is requesting. But here only one instance, one number is there. That is assigned to which one? P2. That one instant resource is already assigned to P2. That is a assignment. This is assignment. This is a request. Already assigned to P2. Here P2, for P2, one of the instance of R2 is given. That is assigned. Like this. For P1, one of the instance of R2 is assigned. Here R3 is there. P2 is requesting for R3, but that particular one instance is already given to P3. But we are not using R4. R4 is already free here. No process using R4 or requesting R4. Here this is separate. So here, is there any chance of deadlock? We have to see that. Deadlock concept, if there is any circular weight, then there is a possibility of deadlock. We seen in the previous slide, circular weight. Is there any circle format? See, P1, that's why here we written no cycle, there is a no circular format. See, P1 is there, P1 is waiting for R1, P1 is waiting for R1, but R1 is assigned to P2, R1 is assigned to P2, P2 is requesting for R3, P2 is requesting for R3, R3 is assigned to P3, R3 is assigned to P3, this line. But P3, it is last, right? So here we can avoid deadlock. How? See, once P3 is executed by taking help of R3, R3 is free, right? Definitely we can allot this R3 to P2. Once we allotted R3 to P2, P2 also completed, because here R3 we are going to give, again R1 is given, R2 also given, so 3 resource is used by P2 and it is completed. Once it is completed, P1 also completed. Like this we can easily complete all 3 processes simultaneously, but here circular is not there, circle is not there, that's why we can complete. No cycle, that's why there is no deadlock. We will see another one, resource allocation graph with a deadlock. That here deadlock is there. How? This is same as previous diagram, same diagram, but here we have one extra line. See, P1 is there, P1 is requesting R1, R1 is allocated to P2, P2 is requesting R3, R3 is allocated to P3, P3 is requesting R2, R2 again allocated to P1. See, here we have a cycle. See, P1 is assigned or requested. This is the request. P1 is requested with R1. R1 is assigned to P2. You can see this line, okay? Then P2 is assigned. P2 is requesting with R3. R3 is assigned to P3. P3 is P3 here. P3 is requesting with R2, but R2 is assigned to P1. Like this, we are going for, we are getting one what is that, a link, okay? So here P1 it is started, ended with P1, that means there is a circle, right? There is a circle like this, there is a circle. Here there is a chance of deadlock. If there is any circle formation, then definitely there is a deadlock. So previous diagram we don't have this line, here we have this line. So previous we don't had any deadlock, here we have deadlock. Another one, graph with a cycle but no deadlock. Here we have resource allocation graph diagram, given diagram, but there is a no deadlock. Why? Can you tell me why? Here see, resource is there with 2 instance, that means 2 numbers. Here we have resource with 2 numbers or 2 instance. So if one of the condition is if resource contain more than 1 instance or several instance, then there is a chance of avoiding deadlock. We can avoid the deadlock if there is any more than 1 instance in the resource. Here there is no deadlock concept, because you can see P1 is requesting with the R1, but R1 is allocated to P2. Also R1 is another R1 instance is allocated to P3. P3 is requesting with R2, but R2 one of the instance is allocated to P4. Now is there a deadlock? No. See, P4 we can complete easily because R2 already allocated to P4, so it is completed one instance. But P3 is requesting, right? If this is completed, then P3 requesting, so we can allocate this instance to P3, second one instance to P3. Then here this is allocated, that is assigned, here also requesting, it is also assigned, so P3 also completed. Once P3 completed, P2 here easily we can complete because there is separate instance we given to P2. This is also completed. These 3 processes completed, P1 easily we can complete. So here there is no deadlock. There is no deadlock in this graph, and we can compare these 3 slides now. If graph contain no cycle, there is no deadlock. Okay, this is the condition you have to remember. No cycle, no deadlock. But if there is any cycle, there are 2 conditions. If only 1 instance per resource type, then there is a deadlock. Definitely there is a deadlock. 1 instance is there, like this. You can see 1 instance only is there. Then there is a, here we have 2, no problem. But one of the resource we have 1, right? So there is a deadlock. But several instance per resource type possibility of deadlock. Here they given, if there is any several instance we can avoid, but there is a possibility may occur, deadlock may occur, but we can avoid that. Okay, that is not 100% we can't avoid, but possibility of deadlock is there, only possibility, but we can avoid. Okay, so resource type with the several instance we have to consider in order to avoid deadlock. Method for handling deadlock. There are three ways to deal with the deadlock problem. We can use protocol to prevent deadlock, ensuring that the system will never enter into deadlock state. First one, that is the first method for handling deadlock is prevent deadlock, ensuring that system will never enter into the deadlock state. We have to prevent deadlock. Okay. For that we are going to use two methods. One is deadlock avoidance, one is deadlock prevention. That two methods we are going to see in further slides. Second method is we allow a system to enter into a deadlock state. We are going to allow that, detect it and detect the deadlock and recover it. So you are going inside the deadlock, and what are the solution you are getting only when you are entering to deadlock, right? Then enter into deadlock, get deadlock state, then detect it, then solve it. That is the second method. But here we have to go for prevention method. Prevention better than cure, right? So prevention we have to take initially prevention deadlock, ensuring that system will never enter into deadlock state. So we have to deadlock avoidance, deadlock two methods. Okay, fine. We ignore the problem and pretend that the deadlock never occur in the system. This is used by most OS including Unix. Here ignore the problem. What is the method? Second method, we are going to enter into deadlock, detect it, recover it. Here we are going to prevent that, first one. But third one, just ignore everything. If there is any problem, just ignore the problems. If there is any deadlock, just ignore. That is a method we have in the third method. That is a method for handling deadlock. Third method is just ignoring. We are using that in Unix actually. Deadlock prevention. That is we seen in the previous slide. That is the two methods. I will go for that here. Deadlock avoidance and deadlock prevention. We are going to see both one. First one, deadlock prevention. If at least one of the three condition does not hold, then we can prevent occurrence of deadlock. Here they given three conditions. If one of the three conditions does not hold, then we can prevent occurrence of deadlock. I think you got that meaning of that line. Yes, we will go for that first condition, mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion, we already seen that we have two process means P1 and P2. Consider there is just assumption P1 and P2 are the two process. It is waiting for only one resource R1. Okay, P1 also wants R1, P2 also wants R1. What is mutual exclusion concept? P1 or P2, any one of these is completely allowed to another process to enter into the resource. That means P2 is waiting and P2 is allowed P1 to enter inside R1, or P1 is waiting, P2 is allowed inside the resource. P2 is allowed inside the resource. So there is a mutual understanding between P1 and P2. Any one can go there, another person there waiting, another process is waiting. This concept is a mutual exclusion. We can't avoid that because mutual exclusion is very important. So anyway, we can't avoid this. Second thing, hold and wait. Hold and wait. Here thing is, you are going to, I told in the previous slides, just holding one resource and waiting for another resource. There is a chance of deadlock when you have hold and wait. So how to avoid this? Must guarantee that whenever a process requests a resource, it does not hold any other resource. You have to guarantee that when a process requesting a resource, okay, when P1 is requesting for R1, then you have to check is there any request is already allocated to P1? You have to check that. Already assigned to P1, you have to check that. If there is an already assigned, so you have to release that. Otherwise, there is a chance of deadlock. See, we have two things here: require process to request and be allocated all its resource before it begins the execution. One of the method is, if you are going for P1, consider P1 is holding one resource, that is R1, and waiting for another resource, that is R2. That means P1 needs both R1 and R2 resource for completion. Now here whatever the method here they given in this line, both R1 and R2 we have to allocate to P1 itself in the beginning. Once P1 is completed, then we have to concentrate P2. That means we have to concentrate only P1 at a time. Process by process we have to complete. That is the first meaning. Require process to request and be allocated all its resource before its execution. That is the first method. Second method is allow process to request resource only when the process has none allocated to it. That is the second method. You are going to allow process to request resource. That means if that process is requesting another resource, that request will done only when process has none allocated to it. No other process is allocated to that particular no other resource is allocated to that particular process, then only it is allowed to request other resource. That is the meaning. In example, I can tell like this: P1 is holding R1 and waiting for R2. That is not allowed here. P1 in the second, whatever here second line is there, it allows the request. That means if that P1 is requesting for R2, then it should not contain R1. Only it is requesting, means no holding concept is there. There is no hold concept. We have to avoid that hold concept. It should not hold any resource that time. Third method is no preemption. No preemption means we already told there we are going to allow complete one process for execution. Once that process is completed, then only we are going for second process. No preemption concept is if a process that is holding some resource requests another resource that cannot be immediately allocated to it, then all the resource currently being held are released. I think you got this sentence. That's why I am going for next one. This is in detail. You can see this. When a process requests a resource, we check whether they are available or not. When a process requesting a resource, P1 is requesting R1, at that time we have to check whether they are available or not. R1 is available or not. We have to check that. If they are available, if the R1 is available, we allocate them, else we check that whether they are allocated to some other waiting process. We have to check it is waiting for some, that means they are allocated to some other waiting process. R1 is allocated to some other process or not. We have to check that. If so, if that R1 is allocated to some other process, then we preempt the resource from the waiting process and allocated them to requesting process. Now I will go for example. P1 is there. Okay, P1 and P2 are the two processes. P1 is requesting for R1. Just assume P1 is requesting for R1, but R1 is allocated to, or R1 is allocated to P2, but P2 want to execute, means it waiting for another resource, that is R3. P2 also not executing, it waiting for R3. It holding R2. P2 is holding R2 and waiting for R3. But P1 it not holding anything, just waiting for R1. That's why we are going to remove that R1 from P2. Just assume we are going to remove connection from P2 and we are giving R1 to P1. That is the meaning of this. At that time we can avoid deadlock. Last one, circular wait. Impose a total ordering of all resource type and require that each process request resource in increasing order of enumeration. That is, we can give example. We have consider process P1 is there. Okay, P1 is the process. There are four resources are there: R1, R2, R3, R4. 4 resource with one process P1. Now consider P1 is requesting with R2. Okay, P1 is requesting R2. R2 is allocated, it is executed, fine. R2 is released. Now in this condition, here whatever given in the sentence, P1, if P1 needs any resource, then it should ask with the resource that is more than R2, more than R2, that is either R3 or R4. It can use R3 or R4, but it can't use R1. That is the condition they told. Lower order numbers they can't use. R1, R2, R3, R4. Numbers are increasing, right? R1 is number 1, R2 is 2, R3 is 3, R4 is 4. So if P1 is requesting for R2, that is allocated and that is finished. Now P1 can, after R2, P1 can request only higher order resource. Higher order resource means either R3 or R4. It can't ask R1. That is not possible because R1 is a lower order number. You can see R1 1 is there. 1 means lesser number. Already R2 is given, so it should ask only R3 and R4. That is a concept in this circular wait. Okay. Deadlock avoidance. We have a concept called deadlock avoidance. Require that the system has some additional a prior information available. Here very easy thing. In order to avoid deadlock, we have to know some basic concept about that deadlock. Means if you have one resource allocation graph, what are the possibility are there? Because for possibilities to that means we have deadlock concept. You know that here thing is you have to get prior information about that deadlock, then we can solve that. If accident is happening tomorrow, if we know today itself, then we can avoid that accident. That is the concept. If there is any problem in that particular path, we are not going for that path. If we know previously means we can avoid that path. That is called avoidance. We can avoid that. If we know about that problem, definitely we can avoid in the prior information means we know that deadlock concept initially. So if that is deadlock happening means we have to avoid that. That's why we are not using that method. That is a concept here. We have to go for deadlock avoidance now. Simplest, this is the simplest and most useful model, requires that each process declare the maximum number of resource of each type that it may need. That is the one point. Second point is the deadlock avoidance algorithm dynamically examines the resource allocation state to ensure that there can never be circular wait condition. See, if there is any circular wait condition, there is a possibility of deadlock. So deadlock avoidance means we have to check there is no circular wait means definitely there is no deadlock. That thing we have to concentrate. Resource allocation state is defined by the number of available and allocated resource. Available resource is there, allocated resource is there. We have to check available and allocated resources and maximum demand of the process also. The resource allocation state, that means we have to check available resources, allocated resources and maximum demand from the process. That three things, if we know previously, that means before writing resource allocation graph, we know this, means definitely we can avoid deadlock concept. So in this deadlock avoidance, one is we have to avoid circular weight condition. Second thing is maximum number of resources you have to prepare before you are starting process. Third thing is here available allocated resource you have to know. Okay, how many available, how many allocated, and how many demand is there, that everything number you have to know before starting your process execution. That is called deadlock avoidance methods. Here one of the thing is this, that is a safe state. What do you mean by safe? Safe means there, in that safe state there is no deadlock. Unsafe means what? In that state there is a deadlock. See here, when a process requests an available resource, system must decide if immediate allocation leaves the system is in safe state. We have to check that is in safe state or not. If you are going to allocate some resource, then you have to check if there is any safe state, then we can give that resource to that particular process. After giving, if there is any deadlock, then initially you know that by using safe state algorithm, that we are going to see in the next slide, how we are going for safe state algorithm. See here, they given 3 points here. If Pi resource needs are not immediately available, Pi resource needs are not immediately available, then Pi can wait until all Pj has finished. Okay, your thing is Pi resource needs are not immediately available. That means Pi is requesting for some resource, but that resource is given to Pj. So Pj uses that resource and releasing that resource. After that only Pi can use that resource. Okay, that is the safe state methods. Here basic fact is, you can see this diagram. Deadlock happen in only unsafe state. In the safe state, deadlock will not happen. So we have to check before starting your process execution, your state is there in safe state or unsafe state. We have to check that. If your state is unsafe state, definitely there may be a chance of deadlock. Okay, so before starting your process execution, just ensure that your state is in safe state. If safe state, then you can process, you can execution, you can execute that particular process. Here, if the system in a safe state, there is no deadlock. We seen that. If system is in unsafe state, then there is a chance of deadlock is there. So we have to avoid that before starting your execution. So we have two avoidance algorithms, that is a deadlock avoidance algorithms, two types. One is a single instance of resource type. For single instance, I told in the previous, what do you mean by single instance? Number of resources. Here that is called instance. One resource type is there, that is single instance of resource type is there. We are going to use one method, that is a resource allocation graph. If multiple instance of resource type is there, then we are using Banker's algorithm. See the difference? Single instance, we are using only resource allocation graph. Multiple instance, we are using Banker's algorithm. Don't exchange this. Resource allocation graph scheme. What is the resource allocation graph means? See here, climb edge is there. Pi, here process is the Pi. Okay, resource is Rj. Here we can see the line. In the previous they given direct line. Here dotted line is there. Dotted line, that you can see in this diagram also. This is different and this is different. Okay, whatever your dotted line is there, that is called climb edge. Okay. Pi climbs Rj, indicated that process Pj, your process Pj may request resource Rj represented by the dashed line. Here you can see that this diagram, I can explain that concept by using this diagram. See, R1 is there here, resource. That R1 is assigned to P1. This is the assignment edge, that R1 is assigned to P1. Same time P2 is requesting with R1. P2 requesting with R1. This is a request edge. This is climb edge. What is the climb edge? P1 may climb R2. That is in future. It may. That means it may ask help of R2 in future. Like this here also. P2 may ask R2 for execution in future. This is a dash, it means that may happen in future. But here direct line is there, that is it is current situation. It is already requested. It is already assigned. But here may means the next chance is there. Okay, it may ask. Climb edge converts to request edge when process requests a resource, that is in future. Request edge converted into assignment edge when the resource is allocated to the process. Here it is requesting, right? P2 climbs R2. It may ask in the future, but when it asks, right, there is a direct line here. Without dotted line we have direct line. That at that time you can call it as P1 is requesting R2. Now it is not requesting, this is climbing. Once it is after requesting, you can see this here. P2 is requesting with R1, right? When R1 is free, then R1 is assigned to P2. Then that time arrow mark is again changed. R1 is assigned to P2. If R1 is free, then only assigned. Otherwise, it is always requesting. Unsafe state in the resource allocation graph. Here, this is the diagram we seen in the previous. Okay, this is the diagram we seen in the previous. So see this and this diagram. Here R1 is a R2, P1, P2. That concept we see in the previous. Here thing is P1 is R1 is, see R1 and P1. What is this line? It is assigned, right? R1 is assigned to P1, but P1 is climbing R2. In here P2 is climbing R2, but after some time that P2 is requested with R2, and here what is the line is there, that is assigned. After requesting, R2 is assigned to P2. Okay, now tell me, is there any chance of deadlock? Yes, there is a chance of deadlock. Why? P1 R1 is already assigned to P1 and P2 is requesting R1. There is a deadlock, right? Another one here, P2, for P2 R2 is assigned. Okay, R2 is assigned to P2, but there may be a chance of asking P1 may ask resource R2 in future. That is a climb. At that time you already allocated to P2 means there is a chance of deadlock, because at that time here we are getting request edge, right? Here there is a assignment edge. So you can see here we have one, then here we have again, here we are getting, if there is any request from P1 to R2 in future, there is a request edge, right? This will convert to request edge in future. So there is a circle. You can see arrow marks. There is a circle. If there is any circle, definitely there is a deadlock. So we can't allocate this resource to P2. That is the meaning of this. Here climb edge is there, right? We can't allocate that R2 to P2. Also we can't allocate R2 to P1. So that is, if there is any allocated to P1 or P2, there may be a chance of unsafe state, that means deadlock state. Second algorithm, that means I told first one is a resource allocation graph for single instance, another one is a Banker's algorithm for multiple instance. So here we are going to see Banker's algorithm. Here multiple instance, this is used for multiple instance. Each process must a prior climb maximum use. So you know this is a avoidance algorithm, right? Deadlock avoidance algorithm. Deadlock avoidance means before deadlock we have to get some information about that, then we have to solve that. That is the avoidance method. So we have to get information before process execution. When a process requests a resource, it may have to wait. Okay, it may have to wait. When a process get all its resource, it must return them in finite amount of time. Once that process gets all the resource, after some amount of time, it should return. Otherwise, other process also waiting, right? They must also get that resource. That's why you have to release that. That process should release that. This is the algorithm we have. This algorithm is called Banker's algorithm. Actually, Banker's algorithm, we have two sub methods. One is a safety algorithm, one is a resource request algorithm. That both algorithm we are going to see in the next slides. First, here we are going for some definitions. Here, what is the definition of available, maximum, allocation, need? That definition we have to see here. Available, how many resources are available? Here, this is the definition. Maximum, how many resources are required maximum? That is the here. Allocation means how many resources are already allocated to that particular process. That is allocation. Need means how many processes needs after allocating. So how to find out need? Again, I will repeat, maximum means how many processes are needed for that particular process. That is maximum resource. Allocation means how many already allocated. So how to find out needed? Maximum minus allocation, that is a need. Okay, maximum we need this much. Something we already allocated. Then how many required? Okay, maximum minus allocation, that is a need. And available, how many after allocation, how many available? Okay, that is we can see here. Why we see in this definition means all these definitions we are going to see in the Banker's algorithm. This is the I told two sub code divisions or sub algorithms are there in Banker's algorithm. One is safety algorithm, one is the resource request algorithm. Here first one is a safety algorithm. So what is the safety algorithm? This algorithm is used to find out the whether or not system is in safe state or not. Name itself, here we have safety algorithm. System is safe or not. Why we have to find out that? If system is in safe state, there is no deadlock. If system is not in safe state, then there is a deadlock. So we have to avoid that unsafe state. What is the algorithm we have? See, work and finish are the two things. Okay. First consider work is equal to available. Available means what? We seen in the previous slide. See, available, number of resources are available. That is the thing. So we have to equal that work is equal to available. Next, finish is equal to false. That means, is that your process is completed? No, not it is started, right? Not it started. So false. False means it is not completed. True means it is completed, like that. Process is not completed, that is why false. So first you have to equalize that. Work is equal to available. Then check, is that process completed? No. No means then see, finish I is equal to false. That process is not completed. Then you have to go for check this. Need is the less than or equal to work. Need also you calculate. See, here need is also there. Work means available. Now we equalize it, work is equal to available. So need is less than work, we have to check. We have both values. First we have to check need is less than or equal to work. If yes, true, then go for third method, that is work is equal to work plus allocation. Then if you are going for work is equal to work plus allocation, then your process is finished. So that's why finish is equal to true. Yes, process is completed. No, not completed means you have to wait something, or we have to go for again for second step. Okay, this is the safety algorithm. This is the first sub algorithm for bankers. Second algorithm is a resource request algorithm. Resource requesting algorithm for process PI. So one of the process requesting resources. For that we have algorithm. Here first thing you have to check is that request is less than or equal to need. That thing you have to check. Request is here they will give, need anyway we are going to calculate in the previous slide. Request is less than or equal to need. If true, then go for check request is less than or equal to available. Yes, this is also true, then go for this formula. If any one of this step is false, then again waiting is required. Again we have to wait. Okay, see, must wait, pi must wait. Other, if both are true, if first we have to check this one, if that is true we have to check this one, that is also true, go for this. Apply this formula and get one new table. Okay, available is new, allocation also we have to change by using this formula, need also we have to change by using this formula. We have deadlock detection. Related to that previous slides, that is a banker's algorithm. I will solve some of the problems in another video. Deadlock detection, allow system to enter deadlock state. How to detect it? One is the deadlock prevention method, one is deadlock detection method. So prevention method is already over. Now detection method. Detection method is allow system to enter deadlock state. You have to allow that. Then detect algorithm. You have to, once you allowed inside the process, that means once deadlock is occurred, then detect that, then recover that. This is the another process, that is a deadlock detection process. We are going to allow deadlock, then detect that, then recover that. We have a method, that is two methods are there. One is single instance of each resource type. Another one is a multiple instance of each resource type. Here single instance of each resource type, here if all the resource have only a single instance, that means a single number of one number of resources, then we can define deadlock detection algorithm that uses a variant of resource allocation graph called weight graph. We are going to create one weight graph to solve or to detect deadlock in the single instant type. So I will explain that by using one example. Say this. Here this is the resource allocation graph. We have to find out deadlock in this system. How to find out deadlock? If there is any circular weight, then there is a chance of deadlock. So first check, is there any circular weight or not? How to check that? For that we are going to create one new graph, that is called weight graph. Weight for a graph. Okay. So here first I will start with P1. See, P1 is requesting with R1. See the arrow mark? P1 is requesting with R1. But R1 is allocated to P2. Right? P1 is requesting with R1. R1 is allocated to P2. So it is indirectly. This is here to here, here to here. So direct method is P1 is waiting for completion of P2. That is a waiting. P1 is requesting here, but this is given to P2. So P2 completed means then resource is given to P1, right? So P1 is waiting for P2 to complete. That is a we have to represent in weight graph. See, P1 is given requesting and R1 is already allocated to P2. So P1 is waiting for completion of P2. Then we can write direct arrow mark. See, P1 here to here, you can see this. P1 is waiting for P2 to complete. Same thing here, go for P2. P2 is requesting R3, but R3 is allocated to P5. How to write the weight graph? P1 is requesting with R3, but this one is given to R5. So P2 is waiting for R5 to complete. So direct arrow mark we can write. then we can go for P2 again. P2 is P2 is requesting R4, but R4 is allocated to P3. So arrow mark is here. You can see this arrow mark. P2 is waiting for completion of P3, and P3 to P4, P3 to P4, because P3 is requesting R5, R5 is allocated to P4. So directly here we can put arrow mark. P3 is waiting for completion of P4, P4 is waiting for completion of P1, see the arrow mark, and P2 is waiting for completion of P4, because P2 is requesting here, but this is allocated here, so direct arrow mark here. So this is your wait graph. So is there any circular movement or motion? Circular motion is there. P1, P2, P4, P1. Yes, circular is there. P1, P2, P3, P4, P1. Yes, there is a chance of deadlock. If there is any circle, there is a chance of deadlock. So this is a deadlock detection method. One is wait graph is a deadlock detection method. Another one is if there is any several instance. In the previous slide, which one? Wait for a graph we use. That concept is used for single instance. Okay, but here we are going for multiple instance or several instance of resource type. So the wait for a graph is applicable to only single instance of a resource type, but for several instances of a resource type, we are going to use one of the algorithm. For that algorithm, we need some of the definitions. One is available. Available definition is same as previous Banker's algorithm. Allocation definition also same as previous Banker's algorithm. Request definition also same as previous Banker's algorithm. Now, this is the algorithm we are going to use for multiple instance. Okay, this algorithm name is deadlock detection algorithm for multiple instance of resources. Here, what is the algorithm? First, you have to equalize work is equal to available, same as Bankers. Work is equal to available. Then check finish is equal to true or false. If finish is equal to false, that means process is not completed, then you have to execute that. How? First you have to check request is less than equal to work. Request is less than or equal to work. Yes means then go for one formula, work plus allocation. Okay, work plus allocation formula. It is almost the same as previous Banker's algorithm. Banker's algorithm, and here changes is there we have maximum, but here we have request. Okay, so we will solve that some of the problems related to this in another video lecture. Another concept is recover from the deadlock. There are two options for breaking a deadlock. One is process termination, one is resource preemption. What do you mean by process termination and what do you mean by resource preemption? Both methods are used for recovering the deadlock or recover from the deadlock. If the deadlock will happen, then we have to recover from that. That's why we use these two methods. One is recovering from the deadlock method is process termination. Okay, process termination. What is the method? About all deadlocked process, you have to eject or you have to abort all deadlocked process. Abort one process at a time until the deadlock cycle is eliminated. This is another important thing. Abort one process at a time until the deadlock cycle is eliminated. If you have three process, if you are using three process, then there may be a chance of assume there is a deadlock on is there. Okay, I will repeat that. We have three process and assume there is a deadlock in the system. You have to avoid that. How to avoid that? We are going to use process termination method. At that time, out of three process, we are going to abort one of the process. We are going to stop one of the process. At that time, out of three, one is stopped, means remaining how much? Two. Two process we are going to execute. It will execute completely, then we can consider third process. We can wake up that third process, or we can take that third process. So aborting one process at a time. After aborting, see is there any deadlock is there or not. If there is any deadlock, abort another process. Okay, so anyway you have to recover from the deadlock, you have to try to avoid that. Okay, another method is resource preemption. What is a resource? Here one definition is to eliminate deadlocks using resource preemption. We successively preempt some of resources from the processes and give this resource to other processes until deadlock cycle is broken. This concept means we are taking from other person and giving to other person. See, I am the P2. Okay, one process P1 and P2 are there. So I will repeat that concept. Recover from the deadlock, resource preemption. Consider we have two processes P1 and P2. We are going to take resource from the P1 and we are going to give it to P2. That concept we are going to apply here, resource preemption. Why we are giving that? Because to avoid deadlock. What we are going to do, successively preempt some resources from process and give these resource to other process. We are taking resource from one process and giving to other process. Why we are giving to other process? By that other process can complete that execution. Once that is completed, that again we are giving to previous process itself. But one thing here, problem is there, from whom you are going to take resource, and that is a matter. Selecting the victim, from whom you are going to take that resource, that is a selecting the victim. Another is there is a chance of starvation. What is a starvation means? Sometimes same process may always be picked as a victim. You are taking resource from the same process always. We are not giving any process to that, we are not giving any resource to that process. We are taking only from that process. That will again lead to starvation, or there may be a chance of cancellation of that process, or there is a chance of blocking of that process. We have to see these points related to resource preemption. So these are the things related to our deadlock concept. Thank you.